So having abs, having a six-pack is obviously cool and desirable for a lot of people, but most people are held back by the fact that A, they don't know how to navigate their way to a lean, shredded core, and more often B, they're not willing to go as far as you need to go in order to get there. Thankfully, I've never had either of those problems, so if you're here looking to get a lean and shredded six-pack right now, listen up, because these are my top 5 tips for getting a six-pack in the year 2023, although it would have been the same list had I made this video any time in the last 1,000 years. Number 1 is to sort your nutrition out. Now, you knew this was coming, so let's not dwell on it too long, but the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter how strong or well developed your core muscles are, if there's a layer of fat constantly covering them up, you're never going to be able to see anything anyway. So what is the point in having abs in the first place? Also guys, I've made countless other videos on the best diets and nutrition for staying lean and shredded, so please be sure to subscribe to the channel and go check some of them out after this. Number 2 is going to be to always incorporate weighted core movements into your routine, but to be very careful how you implement them. I personally focus my weighted core exercises on the abdominals themselves, as I want a tighter midsection with 3D abs that pop out, and I therefore avoid weighted oblique focused activities like side bends, as I think they give that overdeveloped blocky look in the midsection. A couple of my favourite ab exercises include the classic cable crunch, although lately I've been enjoying the standing version, and my personal favourite, which I am claiming I made up myself, the weighted push down performed on the dip station. If you've never tried this one before, lads, you need to position yourself right up against the knee pad with your toes directly underneath it, and then you simply push down with either fully extended arms or from your elbows, depending on what is more comfortable for you, and then you hold a deep squeeze, a nice contraction at the bottom. Finally, don't forget to add some weight to your core stability exercises to make them more challenging and more effective. I don't think anyone actually enjoys traditional planks, for example, so why not make them more fun by adding some serious weight, again via the dip station, which will make it more challenging to hold and stabilize, and it will be far more effective in far less time. Number 3 is going to be to not neglect the obliques and the serratus anterior, which are basically all the muscles either side of the abs themselves. Not only are these muscles super important in terms of functionality, power output, spinal alignment, but they also look pretty fucking sick and are the unsung heroes, in my opinion, of a sexy shredded core. To work these muscles effectively, you're going to need to focus on rotational work, unilateral movements which will force one side of the core to compensate for the other, and overall core strengthening activities, again preferably weighted, which will train the core as a whole as opposed to isolating individual smaller muscle groups. For number 4, we're going to discuss training frequency, and the answer is going to be always. I perform some sort of core activity every single day. The reason being that the core muscles are involved in everything you do, so I want them to be as strong as possible. But the question becomes, how do you program that? Well, previously I used to stick to a very specific routine, the same 4 or 5 exercises every day over and over again, which was fine for a period of time, but as I've got older and as I've got wiser, I've realised that approach did have its shortcomings, just the same as performing the same full body workout every day would also have its own shortcomings too. These days I've built up a pretty deep arsenal of core exercises, which you can see for yourself in this video here. And what I usually do is choose 3 to 4 exercises from that arsenal, focusing on different areas of the core or different skills depending on what I have trained that day, how that day's workout had gone, and most importantly, just basically what I fancied doing that day, because you get to a certain stage in your fitness journey, lads, where you know what is best for your own body and you can sense that in the moment on the day. You don't need a guide, you don't need a program all the time to tell you what is going to work for you best. So sometimes you just have to trust yourself and listen to your own body. And finally, number 5, guys, and this is a good one. You need to decide how important having a six-pack really is to you, because to most people it shouldn't be that important. Now, I know to some people it might be very desirable, cool to have a six-pack, to be ripped and to be shredded, but once you've experienced that once, you're going to need a good reason to stay that way, because it can be very, very hard work. Now for me, the aesthetics are simply a byproduct of the lifestyle that I am living. A nice byproduct, yes, but a byproduct nonetheless. Because in order for me to lose this definition, in order for me to get fat, a whole lot more would actually need to change other than just I introduce a little bit of extra crappy food into my diet. I would need to exercise less. I would need to be far less active throughout the day. And I would obviously not only need to change my diet, but I would need to reprogram my body and the way that it uses the nutrition that I am using to fuel it. And the truth is, guys, that I might actually be a very extreme case, a bit of a freak of nature in that regard, due to the fact that I absolutely love this shit. This shit being the lifestyle, the process that it takes to get shredded, not necessarily being shredded itself. You might not be that, and that is fine too. So before setting your heart on being shredded all year round, I would take some time to properly look at your situation, your life situation, your work situation, your training situation, weigh up the pros and cons and consider, will being shredded actually add much value to your life? And if the answer is no, then I wouldn't bother. Maybe you can set yourself a challenge, but you don't need to be shredded all year round, because it is not for everyone. If that sounds like you, geezers, do not worry, you can still get jacked, you can still get shredded, but the fact that you don't need to maintain that all year round means that you don't need to let it consume your life like some people do. And to be honest, that is a lot healthier, a lot more fun, and it means that those times when you do dial things in, you're going to enjoy it a lot more. Hope this advice has been helpful to you, lads. If you're still here, if you've watched this far, please do me a quick favour, like the video, drop some comment below. I think it helps the algorithm, helps me to grow. It's a difficult platform to crack, is YouTube, but I think if I'm out there helping people via my experience, then it'll all be worth it in the end. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Have a great day, and until the next one, guys, bye bye.